Hello everybody, so thanks for joining. Today I want to show you something a little bit more advanced, how to make a video in StableDiffusion and also how to control the camera movement and how to use prompts in a pretty cool and smart way. That's at least what I found out, and I hope it helps you too. Maybe you've seen my first tutorial. So I'm using StableDiffusion on a platform called Diffusion. Diffusion, I don't go into it too much. It's basically a cloud service where you can run StableDiffusion in the cloud without too many complex setups. If you watch my first tutorial, I go more deeply in it, but now I really want to focus on how to create cool videos. So you log in to Diffusion, you go to the automatic 1111 model or automatic 1111 starter kit. Basically what you have to see is this. And I prepared a small file where which I will share with you as well. And I want to, so here's a link to Diffusion. Here is a LoRA. LoRA is like a smaller model which we're gonna choose to create some more details. Here is a link to the Blender plugin, which I will also show. And here I have the positive prompts which we use everywhere. And here I have the negative prompts which we use everywhere. And I already prepared everything. So we're gonna make a camera movement which goes through a world where you can see all those models in this. I hope it works all well. So let's get started. I go to this overview, and first thing I do, I select the model. And the model which we're going to use is called Juggernaut XL because it produces really nice images. And what I always do before I go into creating videos, I test it. So I take my positive prompts, put them here, I take my negative prompts, I put them here, and I take this prompt, which is specially for this image, and I also put it here at the top. Like, this always will stay the same. These are the ones which are changing to create the different images. And this is staying because it's always a female fashion model, it's always avant-garde fashion, it's always surreal gradient, you know, like we don't want to repeat this all the time. So then I'm gonna select my sampler. I think in my test I selected this sampler, I can't really remember. Sampling steps was 30, and the width, we're gonna make it to 1024 wide and 1424 high. I thought it's cool if we use 2000, if we use, you know, like Instagram, for example, has this resolution for the stories. But this is a very high image, and it looks like StableDiffusion has problems with showing people in this super high format. They all seem to be really tall and thin. So what I figured out, this is a good resolution to create portrait images of people in StableDiffusion. I'm just now creating a test image. So I'm clicking generate, and we should see this image but in a little bit of a different version. So let's see what comes out. Well, that's basically it. Here we got the puffy stuff, and I quickly explain you about the prompts which I'm using here. So this one it's nice that you can write prompts in several lines. In Midjourney you cannot, but here you can, and I think this creates a really good overview. So wearing white haute couture, that's basically describing the dress of the woman. A female fashion model, that's her, and then I'm using a LoRA. The LoRA is called avant-garde fashion. The LoRA basically, this model, the Juggernaut XL, is a good model, but it's not really specialized on avant-garde fashion. So what we're doing, we are including this model avant-garde fashion into our system. And we can do this here. So I already prepared a link for you. You just need to click on it. And then you land in the avant-garde fashion LoRA. Then you click download and you have it on your computer. You can close this again. And here in StableDiffusion, you need to click this button, open my image. No, it's this button, open in your tab. And then you go to models, you go to LoRA when you find it here, and here you drag and drop your downloaded model, you drag and drop it here, the avant-garde fashion, and yes, then you also need to click on LoRA and hit refresh, and you should see your avant-garde fashion model here. Here it is. So now we are using this LoRA or this plugin, however you want to call it, to create this avant-garde fashion stuff. If I would take this out, she would not have this cool dress. She would have a normal dress. So then I have one line for like camera settings. So surreal gradient, you know, like that's it. We have this kind of surreal colors, lo-fi, which makes it this like old school vintage lo-fi look, analog, Kodak film, and Mata Bebakcha. I don't know who that is. I saw that prompt somewhere in the internet and I posted it in and it gave me this nice result. Yeah. Then I have another line about the background. Liminal, I don't know what liminal means, but it seems to work. It looks good. Industrial background, fireworks 1.1. And you notice I put fireworks in brackets. So if you put something in brackets, you can control the strength. So if we wouldn't put it in brackets, maybe there's no fireworks. And if we put it in brackets, we can say, hey, I'll make it 1.4 now. I really want strong fireworks. I do that now. So here we go. Here we have strong fireworks because we pumped it up to 1.4 and it looks pretty cool with those fireworks. And yes, so let's even make the fireworks higher because I think it looks really cool, or let's set it to 1.3, but never mind here. So I was explaining through the positive prompts. I added one more prompt which is called LoRA add detail. This is a LoRA which is already installed from Run Diffusion. If you cannot find it, you need to download it on this website called Siftai. Here you can find it as well somewhere, but it should already be installed. Then we have negative prompts. That's all the stuff which we don't want in our picture. We don't want bad arms, we don't want glitches or cartoon or anime or stuff. That's what we don't want. Well, then we select our sampler. I selected this sampler because I don't know, I think it might be good. And sampling steps I put to 30. And yes, that's the image which we get. And let's make one more test. I take this. I just exchange this line because all the other stuff stays. I generate the image, and now we should get a picture which is basically similar to this one. Yeah, that's pretty similar to the picture which we have here. Alien mask, yeah, true. It should not be alien mask, it should be a faceless mask. I think the alien mask is a little bit too kitsch. I wanted it to be a faceless mask, which I think makes the image a little bit more cool. Here, that's kind of a faceless mask. It's a cool mask, and you see also the fireworks in the background with 1.4 is going pretty explosive. So those are the images which we want to create, and before doing a video I recommend to do exactly what I did now. Check out the images which you want to create, save them somewhere with the prompts that you kind of get an idea of what you want, and then let's go into creating a cool video. Yes, so to do this we go to Deforum, and Deforum is kind of the area where you create all the videos. So it looks very similar. We select the same sampler, then we select the same size. Here we change the sampling steps to 30. This is all restore faces. That kind of makes the faces better. We don't have this restore faces button here anymore, but we still have it here, and I think let's click it so we have some nicer faces. You can ignore all the other things. Then we go to keyframes. Here so let's go to keyframes. We want to make a 3D camera movement in Blender. That's pretty cool. So we go to 3D, and I show you the Blender once we got the settings here, so don't worry about it. I put cadence on 5. Cadence means if cadence is on 1, StableDiffusion renders every picture, and that makes the video very jumpy. You know, you get a lot of flickering, and let's say if you put cadence to 5, then it only renders every 5th picture and interpolates between. That gives you a smoother motion. It's pretty nice. And we want the animation to last for, I don't know, 5 seconds. 5 seconds times 3 is times 30 is 150 frames. No, let's make a 10-second animation. No. And we want to last the animation, let's say 8 seconds. So 8 times 30, we have 3, no. And we want to last the animation like 300 frames, which is about 3 seconds. I cannot. 10. So, and we want to last the animation 10 seconds, which is 300 frames, because we are having 30 frames a second. Prompts. Here, normally you would put in our prompts, and we could do it. We can just copy and paste them here, but I want to show you a cooler tool to make the prompts. So let's ignore this page, and then in it, that's where I'm going to show you something in a bit. Then we have control net, we don't need this. We need hybrid, we have hybrid video, we don't need this, and we have output. Before we forget, let's set the frames to 30 seconds, and the rest here we can leave. So where do we put the prompts? We don't put them here because I want to show you a cooler way. So we go to Init, and then we click on this thing called Parsec. Parsec is like an extra tool where you can control your stable diffusion, animation and settings in a much more better environment. So let's do this. So I click on this thing and we see this big and complicated window. I zoom a bit more in so you can see it better. Don't be afraid. It's all a lot, but we don't need a lot. So I click on new, I just click on new template, and we basically have a new starting thing in Parsec. So here you see a lot of things. For example, let's click on none. We deactivate them all except the seed. Not too complicated. We can close this. And all the other things we can also close. Parsec is great. You can import music and then you can generate camera movement, or you can have your prompts matching the music, but we just gonna use it in a very simple way today because I don't want to overcomplicate things. It's already complicated. Here also important, the options. We want 30 frames a second and the final frame is frame 300. So this is good. We can also close this. It's still here. Then we're gonna make prompts. We're gonna have, how many prompts do we have? We're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different images which we want to include into our video. So let's make 6 prompts here. Then I will, first thing, the general positive prompts. Those are the prompts which I want to include in every prompt. So I put them here. That means they are automatically everywhere. And then I, where is it? Here. I want to include also the general negative prompts. They are here. Because in every picture we don't want those mistakes to happen. And then I'm including the prompts for each picture. Boop, boop. Where is it? Here. And the last one here. So here now we have all our prompts and you see already how it looks like. Prompt number 1 will be everywhere and then they will be like this in this animation. That's not what we want. Important, we click on this button, evenly spaced prompts, and we can say, I just click space and you see it's just putting all the prompts after each other. So we have 6 prompts after image, after frame 45, it switches to the next image and it switches to the next. But we don't want that harsh break. We want a little bit of overlap. Easy, we can just say overlap by 30 frames. For example, that's a little bit too much. Let's say overlay by 20 frames. So you see, here we have it. And there's even a preview where you can see these are the prompts. And now they change. So this is how Stable Diffusion will get the information, basically. Now we just click on re-render and then we click on copy output. So now all those settings are copied to our clipboard and we can just go here to the Parsec, paste them in, and here we have all our settings with our prompts, which we just did here. So it's not that complicated. There are tutorials how to use Parsec as well. It's a super cool tool, and it's way more nice than squeezing everything in here and then making mistakes. Okay, what else do we need? I just double check. It's always important to double check. We have a sampler, the width, the height, steps, keyframes. Oh yes, the camera movement. So we want to use Blender to make a cool camera movement. So Blender is a free tool. You can get it for free. And then there is a plugin in Blender called Deforum tools. And I just quickly go on the website. You can download this plugin. You can install it. Here is a description of how to do it. I also put this description into the file. So here, if you click on it, you see how to install this plugin. So the plugin is a bit difficult to find. It's here on the right. So I opened it, and now I want to make a custom camera movement. I click on default scene because it's always good to start with a default scene. And now we need to enter our camera height and camera width. We say we want 30 frames a second and we want 300 frames. If you remember, this is basically the same settings which we put in here, the 300 frames, the 30 frames per second, and also the height and width. So we got this, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Now I just click start and it counts down. There's a small countdown, and now I can do the camera movement. Just driving around. And I click escape. So now I made a little hiccup here at the bottom. No worries, I'm just dragging the recording of my keyframes to the start, and I can here. That's gonna be the camera movement in our video. It's a bit jittery, so we can smooth it out. I can just type in smooth 100 or smooth 200. Now it should be smoother. Should be. I'm not so sure if the smooth button really works. No, this looks smoother. This is nice. I think you just need to click it twice. So this is the camera movement which we want. And now I need to copy those camera movement values into StableDiffusion. So here I click on the top one. And here in StableDiffusion, in keyframes, important, 3D needs to be active, I put the first value here. It's a lot of values because it's a whole camera movement. And I do that with the second one and the third one, and also the rotations. So this is it. Now we have our camera movement inside, and cadence is on 5. Let's double check once more. I think we checked this. Keyframe seems to be okay. Prompts, we're not going to use them. We're going to use our prompts which we used from Parsec. So let's quickly double check Parsec. 30 frames per second, 300. The prompts are in. Everything looks good. Control net we don't need, output. All right, that looks good. We can hit the generate button. So now 300 frames, that might take a while, maybe 10 minutes or something. But what we can do, we can check if everything's working. So check number 1, we should get an image here of the first generated image, like a preview image. And here it is. That's the first image, the first frame which got generated. That's good. and the second appeared and the camera is moving a little bit. So that's a good sign. That means we are on the right track. Then in our file manager, we can also check the progress of what's happening. So we go to images, we go on images auto, and here we go to that view, to this list view, and then we sort it by last modified, because the last modified files should be the ones which are being generated right here. Let's click on it, and here you can see already, here are the images, and if you update this website, then you see already the newest images are coming in and they're getting generated. We can open them and have a look. Probably our camera movement makes these images look a bit odd. You know, we have this very hectic camera movement, but it looks like everything seems to work. At the bottom of the page, you see a file called settings, and here are all our settings which we set up in StableDiffusion. So actually, you could download this settings file and include it into another StableDiffusion project, and you would get the same results. But that's not what we're gonna do now. I just wanted to show you that here in the File Explorer, you can see what's going on. And now we just need to wait until all the images have been generated. So here we go. Here we have our finished video, and I click this button here to watch it. And you see it's pretty big. It's like a big, good quality. And I press it, and I can already see our camera movement is going super wild, and we're actually not getting anything of our nice avant-garde fashion clothes. So I will make another recording with the less camera movement in Blender, and I'm gonna show you this as well. What I can do, I can download the video here. It's downloading, and now we have it. And now I go back into Blender and I do this again. So with less camera movement. So we had 1040 width, no, we had 1440 high, 1040 width, 30 frames a second, 300 frames long animation, and I'm starting it. And I'm just not doing a lot. See, moving camera slowly. Don't want to make too much movement. Okay, that's enough. For other videos where you are more in a city or in an environment, I smooth it again with 200 to make it even more smooth. Now we have a look. Yeah, why not, right? I mean, you can add more camera movement to other videos where it's really more about like an environment, you're moving in a city, then it's cool. But I think if you have like a person in the center, you don't want to move too much. So let's copy those values in. You see they're already smaller, because we don't have so much camera movement. Did I copy it? All right. Did I copy this one correct? Just put this one in once more. So these are the new values of the camera, and I think everything else was good. So we're just gonna hit the generate button once more, and I hope to get a video which is maybe not that strange with the camera movement. I can close this and soon we'll see if the video actually starts rendering. So it looks like it's working. We got image number 1, and we can also check in our file explorer. You see, created a couple of seconds ago. That means it's working, and here are already the new images. Here she is. You can also skip through them. I mean, it's always the same image, but not. You see the smoke is moving a little bit, so something is happening. It's just very little happening. Maybe that's something what we want. Yeah. Let's just see what this brings to us. And as you saw, it's a lot of experimentation. It's a lot of time spending in front of the computer, tweaking little things, and it's super fun. So I hope you enjoyed. And let's look at this video once it's finished. So now we are at 35%, and let's have a look in our file explorer how this looks like. I refresh it and we are at image 109, and you see it's already pink. Something is happening. We are getting some changes between the images. It's always interesting to check the progress, especially when you make long videos. Maybe the program gets stuck and it doesn't continue at frame 114, and then you know kind of at frame 114 something happened. Yeah. So it looks like it's coming to an end. We are at 99%. And let's check it here. Yes, we're finished. Let's watch the video. Here we go. Nice camera movement. The zooming, right? That's kind of pretty heavy. But that's nice. That's a nice video for now. You kind of get the understanding, the basics. And now what I normally do, I put this into After Effects to add a little bit of more grain. I mean, it already has a nice grain on it, but it's always nicer to fine-tune the video a little bit in After Effects and also add some music to it. So I'm downloading the video on my computer, and then I'm putting the two videos which we just produced, I'm putting them into my folder for After Effects. I open After Effects here and I create a new composition, and in this new composition we can make this width of 1080 by 1920, because that's the proportions of Instagram story, and that's where we want to post it now. 10 seconds long. I press OK, and I'm gonna take those two videos, throw them into my video thing, and then I throw them into my composition, and then I upscale it here. And here we are, looking good. And what I normally do, I'm just adding some grain on it, and I also adjust the colors a little bit. So in After Effects there's this color correction called lumetric color here, And I'm not a color expert, but I think that's a pretty cool tool. There are some basic corrections which you can kind of do. Normally I don't select any of them, but you could. And then there are some creative things. You can select some looks of some cameras, for example black and white, but we don't want to lose the nice colors. So yeah, why not this? And it also gives us a vignette, which makes it a little bit more dark on the edges. And also we can add another effect called the noise. Add grain. And here you can also select the grain from the camera. Preview. Preview final output. Here this is how it will look like, and that's pretty nice. I cut the composition till the last frame. It's not 10 seconds. In the composition settings, somewhere we lost a couple of frames on the way, but that's not such a big problem. It's important when you create a composition in After Effects to also have it at 30 frames a second, because all the time we're working with 30 frames a second. We have this. We can also add some music to it. I normally take some music of my friends because they do really nice music. Which one should I take? This one. Turpentine. Yeah, that sounds about right. Feel in that mood. And I just move the music to a position where it's nice. Maybe to here. Yeah. That's it. And now I'm gonna export this whole thing. I'm exporting it just to my desktop. Now I have an export folder, so that's where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna export it. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you learned something. Here is the final result. Yeah, nice, cool. So if you liked it, subscribe to my YouTube channel and all have a lovely day.